The most dangerous systems don't survive because people believe in them. They survive because people keep pretending. This week in Davos, Mark Carney used a phrase that really cuts close to the bone: values-based realism. This really struck me because I preach values and living values and values in action for people and for businesses. So it made my ears tingle and really perk up to listen to the full thing. And values-based realism is about stripping away the polish. The message is simple and uncomfortable. Stop lying low about how the world actually works. Then decide what you're willing to stand for anyway. For decades, we lived inside a nice story, a rules-based story. Shared norms, predictability, mutual benefit. We knew it wasn't fully true. We knew the rules bent for the powerful, but the story worked well enough. So it kept repeating. We kept the sign in the window, as Mark Carney said. But that's the trap, because systems don't persist through force alone. They persist through active participation. Carney then reaches back to the power of the powerless. Havel's work is a greengrocer who hangs a sign that he doesn't believe in. Not because it's true, but because it's easier than dealing with the consequences of honesty. Havel called it living within a lie. Here's the uncomfortable part. Most modern leadership failures aren't about bad intentions. They're about quiet compliance with things we privately know aren't working. Values without realism feels noble, but they collapse under pressure. When values never meet the trade-offs, constraints, or consequences, they become slogans and posters and website copy, not guides for action. If value disappears the moment it becomes inconvenient, it wasn't a core value. It was just a preference. But realism alone is no better. Just being pragmatic often means going along to get along, avoiding friction, explaining away uncomfortable decisions. And that's not realism. That's accommodation dressed up as maturity. Carney puts it bluntly in his speech. Performing sovereignty while accepting subordination is not sovereignty at all. That line travels far beyond geopolitics. Values-based realism asks a harder question than most leaders want to face. Which values survive contact with reality? Not in theory, not in a workshop, but when resources are tight, pressure rises, reputation's on the line, and retaliation is possible. Values don't matter until they cost you something. So nostalgia is not a strategy. Pretending things still work the way they used to, that's worse. Leadership, real leadership, starts when you name reality, take the sign out of the window, build enough strength to act honestly, and accept the consequences that come with it. That's values-based realism. Everything else is just performance.